Alright guys, what is up? Vivi back with another video. And today we're going to be going over a game from a few weeks back now. It is over from the East. This is an OP-04. This was about 2 weeks ago from the time you're recording this. You can see right here. And that was, 2 weeks ago from, I don't know if you can see that or not, but August 27th, right? But this is a game between Zoro and Smoker. So let me put this at 2x speed. I always like to put these videos on 2x speed so they don't run too long. But yeah, this is going to be a Zoro versus Smoker game. I'm always interested to see how black does in tournaments because we already know how red does, but black is the color that I play the most. It's what I'm most, you know, how do I say it? It's what I'm best at as far as, like, you know, out of all the different decks, that's what I do the best with because it's what I play the most. It's what I'm most comfortable with. So, excuse me, let's go ahead and dive into this game. And let's see what these guys do. So again, we're on 2x speed, and you know we're just going to kind of analyze the game, go over certain things. Okay, that's interesting. This guy is asking to read the Smoker's ability. So for those who don't know, I should leave it up over here. The Smoker has, you know, an activate main to reduce the cost of your opponent's character by 1. Let me pull that over. So Dawn times 1, activate main once per turn, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 to their cost during this turn. Then, if there's a character with a cost of 0, it could be any character, by the way, with a cost of 0, this leader gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Okay, so it's a nice way for, you know, you attach one Dawn and you get 7,000 power against certain decks. You know, decks like the Zoro that's running an Izo. So very nice alt-art leaders, of course. I noticed that a lot of these tables in the Japanese scene over in the East, or it may not necessarily Japanese, but in the scene over in the East. So, all right, let's see if this game's going to get started. So, opening hand here, we got 2 Sakazukis, we've got 10 cost Kuzan, 4 cost Kuzan, and a Borsalino. We got the Admirals here. I don't know who's going first or who's going second, but if the Smoker is going second, this is a pretty nice starting hand. You have a very good 4-6-8 curve. And the 4-6-8 curve, in my opinion, would be Kuzan first on turn 2, you know, for 4 Dawn. And then Sakazuki turn 6, or for 6 Dawn on turn 3. And then from there, it depends what the board state is. But we'll have to see what the Zoro is running as well. Did they show? They didn't show the... all right, here's the Zoro. Zoro's sitting on an Izo. That's probably why he was asking about the leader's ability. But, you know, we got the Zoro's got Izo, Jet Pistol, Jozu, Dadan, and Whitebeard Pirates Event Search. Okay. Honestly, I don't know if the Zoro player should even run the Izo since he already has the Searcher in hand as well. Maybe you play it. No, he just does. Wow. Okay, he says, no, I'm just going to play it. Okay, and let's see what he looks at here. He's got Zoro, Otama. Oh, it was a whiff. Wow, very unfortunate start. And now he has a 1-cost character in play for the Smoker to abuse for the rest of the game. Okay, but you can't do anything on turn 1, obviously. So Smoker, turn 1 passes. He gets a Suru in hand, a 2K counter. Okay, so Zoro swings for 5, and he drew, it looks like he drew into a Makino. He's going to pay 2, though, play Dadan. 4, 5, let's see what he gets. See if they show. Okay, he has access to an Izo, and I think that's a buggy. Yeah, it looks like it was a buggy. He grabs the Izo. I guess the Zoro player is just saying, you know what? My deck consists of just straight 1-cost characters, or like a large majority. Yeah, there's a Marco and another. I think it was 2 Marcos, an Izo, and something else. But he grabs the Marco 4-cost blocker. He's just saying, you know what? I can't stop you from activating your leader's ability against my deck realistically without going too far behind with this plan. Okay, he got a Fire Fist from that trigger. He thought about it for a second, but there is nothing to KO. I wonder if he was thinking about KOing his own characters there. I got to bring up Fire Fist. I wonder if he was actually thinking about KOing his own characters with that ability, but I don't think you can do that. K up to, yeah, it's so the triggers K up to one of your opponent's characters with 5,000 power or less. I wonder if that's what he was thinking of. Excuse me, because there's no way he was thinking about the board, right? There was nothing on the board, and the Smoker player was smart enough to swing first and play his Borsalino second, so that he would not get KO'd by it, because he would have lost it right there. That's why sequencing and doing things in the correct order is so important. Always practice doing things in the correct order. Okay, blocks with... nice. Man, that was a good call there. He just... So, because there was no Dawn invested in the Zoro, the Smoker player said, okay, I'm going to block this because I know you're bluffing. Because if you haven't attached one Dawn, since you're going to anyway to buff all your guys, then you're just going to play something from hand. So he said, yeah, I'm just going to tap my Borsellino and block it up like that. I'm surprised, though, that the Zoro player did not just decide, like, I'm sorry, I got to pause this, guys, and talk about this. But I probably, in that situation, would have thought in my mind, oh, okay, well, if you're going to do that, I am going to attach one Dawn and put 2 on Izo, 2 on the other, 2 on Dadan, excuse me, and at least get one more card out of hand for the Borsellino, and then get another card out of hand, swing at face with the Izo. I don't know, maybe not though. It depends. You know, these guys have their own game plans. They have experience. They know what they're doing. Playing the Marco is definitely the safe play. I will say that right now. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, he gets a Smoker. Not a lot of counter power in the Smoker's hand right now. He's got a Kobe. It looks like he's got a Kobe, 3-cost Kobe. He's got the what's her name, Suru. Excuse me, and that's about it. Yeah, that is all the counter power in his entire hand. So, I think. Wow, did he just swing? Okay, so he just turned Borsellino sideways and swung 5 at what's his name, Zoro, the leader. 2K counter out. Interesting. 6, reducing the cost by 1 of Izo, so swinging for 7. And plays a Smoker follow-up. He said, okay, he's saying, you know what? I'm just going to race you. He's saying, I don't have the counter power in hand to do what I need to stop your attacks efficiently. So I'll tell you what, why don't we just race? And that's a good decision. Because, you know, this is the whole, you know, how do you say, this is what you hear, right? You got to deal with what, you know, the hand you've been dealt. That's just what you got to work with, right? I'm just working with the hand that I got dealt. And that's what this Smoker player is doing. He did not play the, okay, let me pause. We got a lot to talk about. He did not play Kobe for a reason. Okay, he could have taken out one of his little guys there, one of the Izos or the Dadan, realistically. But instead, he said, you know what? I'm going to swing with my blocker for 5. You know, I'm just going to swing 5K at your leader with my blocker. I'm going to play a Smoker, and I'm about to go full aggro mode because he doesn't actually have an option, right? There is no other option in his hand. He only has 3,000 power in counters right now. So this is interesting. Now, of course, as he takes damage, right, as he takes life, he's going to get more counters, potentially. Okay, so he did minus 3K to the Borsellino. So the Zoro player plays Gordon, minus 3K to Borsellino, putting him at 3K, swings 3K into him with Izo, and just lets it go. Just lets it go. I think that was probably the right play because otherwise, if he countered out with the Kobe, then he's going to swing with this Izo for 3 and get another card out of hand. Just free cards with all of this Dawn left to work with. And then, but now it's like, okay, well, no, I'm okay with, you know, the Smoker player in his mind is thinking, okay, I'm kind of okay with what he has on the board because you're going to have to invest so much into swinging. So, all right, here we go. So he swings for 4K. I probably would take this one, actually. He doesn't. Okay, I would actually have taken that one because that was for 5K, right? Because it's a 2K Izo. He's got 2 Dawn on him and 1 from Zoro. That was for 5. I would have personally taken that one and hoped for a trigger to KO the Dadan. But let's see what happens. So he's going to take this one, right? He has to, unless he wants to use a 2K counter from hand. Wow. Okay. Yep. I personally would have taken that one. I would have taken the first one from Izo to potentially get a trigger from my life, and then I would have been sitting on 1 more counter for next turn. Okay, swing 7 has to take that, and it's a Bartolomeo. Okay, so that's nice. He will have a blocker for next turn if he needs to, but otherwise it's a nice 2K counter in hand. Probably use it in hand because it'll be too easy to take off from the board. Okay, so whose turn is it? Okay, he's bluffing. And that was a brand new. So who did he swing with? I'm sorry, who was that? He swung with with Marco, of course, yeah. Yeah, he still had Marco left. Okay, so he swings with Marco. The Smoker player, this is a good technique. Did you see what he did? He reached for his cards, and said, yeah, let me think about countering this, even though he literally couldn't. He literally could not counter out of the Marco because he only has a 2K counter in hand, and the Marco's a 6K, but he's swinging for 7 because of Zoro. So that was a good technique to learn there. Bluff it, so that way your opponent has to think about what's in your hand. Okay. Not that it might not help, but it's still the right idea. Okay, so Zoro player's turn again. Zoro's going to need to do a lot of work this turn. That is one thing I'll say right now. He's got 3 Sakazukis. You know, this is why I went down Sakazuki in most of the black decks I run. I usually run like only 2 and 3 at the most. Let me pause this real quick. That looks weird, doesn't it? How it's like a black and green smoker. Like it's, I don't know, the colors are really vivid. They're very, very vibrant. It doesn't look right. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But actually, you know, maybe it's for like colorblind people. It could be. I'm not sure. I have seen that before though. But anyway, that's why I went down to 3 Sakazukis in my deck, like max, or potentially 2, because it's nice when you get it, and it's awful when you don't get the card, but it's also awful when you get 3, you know, he's got 3 in his hand. He's going to have to trash Sakazukis with Sakazukis right now. So let's see what happens here. Is he going to try to go for game? That's my question. Like, is he going to try to just say, okay, you know what? You know, you're either going to have to beat me next turn, or I'm going to beat you next turn. I don't know what the right call is, but looking over at the Zoro's hand, the Zoro only has 2K, 3. Oh, wow. Okay, so he took it. Yeah, I don't think he had enough to counter out anyway, or maybe he had just enough. Swing for 7. Now I would counter out of this. Yep, 2K and 1K. Sakazuki, KO. You got to go for Dadan. You got to go for Dadan here because you cannot get the Marco. You're never KOing that Marco. You just have to count your blessing, or count your losses. Just take out a Dadan. Yep, that was the right call. Nice. Like, it would have been nice to take out Marco, of course, 100%. But it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? Realistically, it's just not going to happen. Okay, so let's see what the Zoro player does here. I think the right call is just go Zoro, like the 3 calls. He has the 3 calls Zoro in hand, and he has a jet pistol. He's got a few other things. I would just play the Zoro. Like, attach 1 Dawn to Zoro, and I'd probably just go for... I don't know. Do you just go for a game here, or do you try to take out their tapped Zoro? Because see, here's the thing. We have the benefit of knowing what's in the hand of the smoker player, right? The Zoro player has no idea, right? He has no idea that his hand is basically what has he got? 3,000 power in counters. That's all. That's all he has in counters. So he could realistically win the game this turn if he knew that information. But it also depends on what's on the life triggers, right? We don't know. Okay, so he attaches it on to Zoro first. Okay. I think this is the right call, because what are you going to play? Fire Fist isn't going to do anything for you. Jet Pistol's not going to do anything for you. You've got... What is that in hand? Is that like a... I think it's a Marco blocker. And then he's got Jozu, Marco, the 5K, or the 5 call 6K. Well, what just happened? He attacked Smoker. Wow. Okay, so he... So watch this. He goes 7K at Smoker the character. He says, okay, 1K counter out. You got it, bud. Yep, no problem. that was ideal for the Smoker player, right? That was ideal. Wow, really well played by this Smoker player so far, I have to say, because he's saying, I'm not scared of you at all, even though he knows he should be. Okay, coming in for 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, can't defend that. Fine. Okay. Now, tap 4 and play the blocker Marco. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. It would have been... I'm actually surprised he didn't just, plan on playing blocker Marco and just going more aggressive here. But, okay, we've got a 2 cost 4K off the top there. We got an impact wave. All right, let's see what happens here. You're going to... I think you run the Sakazuki. So 7 at face. Okay, he's just saying, all right, 7 at face. Okay, he just counters out. He said, you know what? The Zoro player is saying, I have enough on board to just win the game. So I'm not going to worry about anything like that. Okay, so he's going to go for an Ezo, I'm assuming. I think you go for an Ezo here. Okay, that was wild. Yeah, I don't think that's what I would have done. Well, who knows? Maybe now he just attacks into it with his leader. Because he does. Yeah, you know, maybe that was the right play because there's only 3 cards left in the Zoro's hand. He left 4 Dawn open. The Smoker player left 4 Dawn open. Get rid of the... Yep, gets rid of the what's it called? Gosh, I just had it up. Whereas I got it over here still. Fire Fist. Trashes the Fire Fist. Oh, man, here we go. So it's interesting how everything shifted. Instead of going for face, he actually just decided, okay, I'm going to, you know, start trying to clear out the board because that's going to be a better way to deprive my opponent of cards in hand. So, all right, Zoro has attached to Dawn, and Izo has got 2 Dawn attached, swinging for 5k. I think the Zoro player is saying, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm attacking face. I think... this is where you use impact. I think you use Impact Wave right here. Like, it doesn't matter that it's a 5 cost, or a 5k, right? Like, yeah, you're over countering by 4,000. Who cares? Because with 1 card, you're countering 2 attacks. You're paying 2. You're KOing the Izo. Okay. Well, now you don't get to counter anything with the Impact Wave. Ah, that's unfortunate. So for those who don't know, Impact Wave can only KO a 3 or less when active. Now look. So, okay, yeah. So, we got to say that was just strictly a play mistake, right? I mean, unless maybe he's scared that the Zoro player might know his hand, but it's like hey, man, you only had 4 cards left in hand, right? Like right here, when he counted out with Bartolomeo, you only have 4 cards in hand. The Zoro player is going to assume you just have straight 2k counters, right? So, maybe he was thinking, okay, if I use an Impact Wave here, then he's going to think I have no cards in hand and he's going to just be able to finish me off. But it's like, well, but not necessarily, because you're KOing one of his characters in the process. So even though it's a 4k over counter, you're taking out another character, you're 2 for 1-ing your opponent. It's pretty much always worth it. Then you just have to counter out of 1 more attack, assuming that he's going to attack with like a Rusher, which he does have in Zoro, or with the Marco on the board, the blocker. So here we go. Everything is going to depend on what's from the trigger here, I think. Like, we have to see what's in the life triggers of this Smoker player. So here we go. So this is the play we just saw. I would consider it a misplay personally, because why would you not Impact Wave there to KO the other Izo? It's the only other target you can hit. Okay. I mean, he might as well have saved it right then and taken that damage. And then like countered out otherwise. But I don't know. Here we go. Wow. So he swings first with the Marco. He did get a 2k counter. He swung with the blocker Marco first. There's 4 Dawn active. So he can just swing for 7k. Yeah, this game, I think, mathematically is over, because it's going to be swing for 7 with your Marco, swing for 6 with your leader, or 7 even, potentially, and then swing for 6 with Zoro in hand. Okay, 7 with leader. Yep. Takes it. He got a smoker. Yeah, the game's over. 7k, GG. Okay, very nice. So ultimately, let's try to do some math to see if we would have won that game if we did the Impact Wave. We do have to talk about that real quick. Okay, so this is the board state we were in. And guess what? There was a 2k counter on top and a smoker, right? So that's all that's coming, is we're only going to get 2k counters more from our opponent. And of course, everything changes if he had played the Impact Wave first. We do realize that. But let's just kind of see. Let's just kind of see what would have happened. It might not have mattered at all, but we'll at least run through the example. So right here, I would have Impact Waved, because there is no other target. You know he's going to swing with Izo next, because that's the only relevant thing to do. So that would have KO'd the Izo. We keep the 2k in hand, and now let's see what happens. Okay, so then, again, this attack would have just never happened. Right? That's the crappy part. This attack would have never happened, and we still would have a 2k counter in hand. So the next attack he would have done was with Marco, and with Marco, he's swinging for 7k. I would take this one. I've got a 2k counter in hand. Yeah, it looks like it would not have mattered regardless then. Okay. So I would have 4k in hand, though, right? Because I would still have the Bartolomeo if I had done it the way that I was saying. But that would only block 1 more attack. Yeah. Well, however, we would have 2 life. Right? We'd have taken the 1 life. We could have countered out of this one, taken that one, but then the Zoro would have came in and finished off in the other example. So good game either way. I do still consider it like a play mistake technically, because if you could have gotten a counter off the top other than the smoker, then you actually would have won that game. Ultimately, excuse me, sorry guys, my allergies are always messed up. Ultimately, I think that this smoker player drew horribly. Like, they got no counters in hand. But that's one of the risks of running black cards right now with all the admirals. The only admiral with a 2K counter, or excuse me, with a counter on it, you know, is basically Borsalino. Sakazuki doesn't have one. Kuzan doesn't have one. Smoker doesn't have one. I know he's not technically an admiral or whatever, but you guys get my point. You know, you're kind of very limited in that regard, which is why I actually think it's good to run the 0 cost. Let me see. It's a 6 King pistol. It's too bad we don't have a Navy version of this card, but 6 King pistol I think is just a very, very strong card if you're running black, because you have to think of it like this. All of those cards in hand were dead to him. Like, imagine if one of those Sakazukis was a 6 King pistol, right? If just one of those Sakazukis, I mean, he drew 3 Sakazukis. So if just one of those Sakazukis in hand was a 6 King pistol, all of a sudden he actually has a chance to win that game, right? All of a sudden he actually has a chance to win the game by having, let's go back to his hand real quick. Yeah, look at his hand. He had 3 Sakazukis, 10 cost Kuzan, and the 4 cost Kuzan. Then he had the Bartolomeo. But all of a sudden, if one of those is a 6 King pistol, he still might not win the game, right? It is worth mentioning that. I'm not saying he would just automatically win the game, but his chances would have increased exponentially. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. I love reviewing these games. I love giving my own analytical view on it. I'm considering something like coaching, but I think I need to work on, like, you know, credentials or something for One Piece first. Like, looking back in my career of TCG, not my career, but, you know, I mean, like, the amount of time I've been playing TCGs, I've been playing for 15 years. I was extremely competitive in Magic the Gathering, extremely competitive in this game called Legend of the Five Rings, extremely competitive in Hearthstone for a while, got Legend in that, you know, like the Legend card back and all that. But it's one of those things where I know I could offer coaching at a good level, but it's a matter of if people would actually want to do that. We'll see about in the future. Maybe in the future, like if I ever get like some type of Patreon going, which I have worked on, but I haven't put any... I started a Patreon, but I haven't put any work into it. And again, that's in the future. We'll see how the channel goes, how the game goes, and if people are even interested in that in the future. So, all right, guys. But I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below if you liked it, disliked it, if you saw something I missed, if I missed something, you know, or maybe if they missed something, maybe you saw something these guys missed. Please don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe if you don't mind. It really helps me out. And until next time, guys, peace.